You check your bank account, the number is smaller than you expected. Again, you tell yourself it's because you don't earn enough, bad luck, a bad month, a system that's rigged against you. But the real answer is far stranger than any of that. There's a trait sitting quietly inside your brain right now. It has nothing to do with intelligence, nothing to do with effort. It has almost nothing to do with how much money you actually make. And it might be the single biggest reason your bank account looks the way it does. It's not laziness. Lazy people don't build careers. They don't raise families. They don't grind through 80-hour weeks chasing something they believe in. Plenty of broke people work harder than anyone you know, so if it isn't effort, what is it? Start here. In the late 1960s, a psychologist named Walter Mischel sat 4-year-olds down at Stanford University, one at a time, in a small bare room. He placed a single marshmallow in front of each child. Eat it now, he said, or wait 15 minutes and get 2. Then he left the room. Some kids ate it in seconds, others twisted, sat on their hands, sang to themselves, looked away, anything to survive the wait. Years later, Mischel followed up with those same kids as teenagers. The ones who waited were doing measurably better, better grades, better coping skills, better outcomes across almost every category researchers could measure. For decades, people called this a story about willpower. But that summary missed the real discovery. It was never really about self-control. It was about how a mind decides whether the future is even worth waiting for. And that's the trait. Psychologists call it present bias or temporal discounting. In plain English, your brain treats a reward today as worth dramatically more than the exact same reward tomorrow, even when waiting would objectively pay off more. You already do this constantly. You barely notice it. You know saving money grows over time. Spending it now still wins. You know a workout today builds a body you'll thank yourself for later. The couch still wins some nights. This isn't a character flaw. It's a setting your brain came with. Here's the twist almost nobody expects. That setting isn't broken. It's ancient. And for most of human history, it kept you alive. Think about your ancestors. A piece of fruit in your hand today was guaranteed food. A promise of more fruit next week was a gamble. Someone could steal it. It could rot. You could be dead by then. So a mind that grabbed the sure thing now and discounted anything uncertain and far away was making the smart bet. Present bias wasn't a flaw in the system. It was the system working exactly as designed. But money doesn't behave like fruit in a forest. Money behaves like a seed. And a brain still running on instincts from a world where later often meant never treats a seed the exact same way it treats food. It grabs it. It doesn't wait for it to grow. That single mismatch is quietly running your entire relationship with money. Not because you're weak, because your brain is applying survival math to a game it was never built to play. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. This bias doesn't just decide how you spend. It decides how poor people specifically end up staying poor, and there's real research behind that. In 2013, economist Sendhil Mullainathan and psychologist Eldar Shafir published research showing something almost nobody expected. Scarcity itself, the simple state of not having enough, temporarily lowers a person's available mental bandwidth. Not permanently, not because of low intelligence, just in the moment. The way a computer slows down when too many tabs are open. Think about what that means. When money is tight, your brain isn't relaxed enough to think 15 steps ahead. It's consumed by the immediate gap. Rent this month, groceries this week, the overdue bill blinking in the back of your mind. Present bias gets stronger exactly when you can least afford it to. Scarcity narrows your focus down to right now, and right now always screams louder than someday. Researchers call this a scarcity trap. The less you have, the more your mind fixates on the present. The more it fixates on the present, the harder it becomes to make the long-term decisions that would fix the shortage. It's not a trap of circumstance alone, it's a trap of attention. And here's the part that should genuinely bother you. This isn't accidental. Look at how much of the modern economy is built to exploit this exact bias. Buy now, pay later. One-click checkout, instant approval. Every friction point that used to force you to sit with a decision has been engineered away. Because a business that removes the wait makes more money the moment your ancient brain sees the reward now and the cost later. You were never just competing against your own instincts, you were competing against entire industries that studied this bias decades before you ever heard the term. So what actually breaks the pattern? Not more willpower. Willpower is a finite resource. Relying on it daily is exactly why New Year's resolutions collapse by February. The real fix is smaller and stranger. It's changing the moment of decision itself, not your discipline in that moment. Economist George Ainsley spent decades studying this exact bias. His method was simple: pre-commitment. Automate the choice before your present-focused brain ever gets a vote. A savings transfer that happens the day you get paid before you ever see the number in your checking account. A retirement contribution that comes out automatically, so there's no daily battle between you now and you later. You're not becoming a more disciplined person. You're removing the moment where discipline would even be required. This is also why so many wealth-building strategies feel almost boring compared to how dramatic the results end up being. There's no hack. There's no secret trick your brain doesn't already understand. There's just a structural decision that takes the choice away from a mind still calibrated for a world where the future was never guaranteed. Here's the modern mirror. Every time you feel that quiet pull to spend now, skip the workout, or put off the harder conversation you know would change something, you're not weak. You're a few 100,000 years of survival wiring, meeting a world it was never designed for. The reward that feels urgent right now almost never is. The one you keep discounting almost always was the better bet. You checked your bank account. The number was smaller than you expected. Again, but now you know the real number that matters was never on that screen. It's the gap between what your ancient brain wants right now and what your future actually needs you to choose.